Today's lesson is all about how to play over minor 2-5-1s. My previous lesson was all about how to actually play the chord progression, so if you don't know how to do that and you don't know the mechanics of it and the harmony and what's going on, you probably want to start there first, so check the card above or the description below for that. Now, I'm going to give you different ways from beginner to slightly more advanced options for playing over this progression. In the background I've got going B7 flat 5, E7 to A minor. So we've got a minor 2-5-1 in the key of A. First thing you want to be able to do is find those chord tones. So over B7 flat 5 you want to be able to find B, D, F, A. And over the E7 you want to be able to find E, G sharp, B, D, and then over the A minor 7, A, C, E, G. So maybe just on the beat to start with, you could just work to trying to find those 4 notes. So like this. Let it just come around again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So starting like that, different places on the neck. Then maybe work up to 2 octaves. And again. Up 1, down the other. That sort of idea, and that is just about being able to find chord tones easily, knowing what you're playing, and finding them on the neck with ease. Being able to put yourself on a B anywhere and play a B7 flat 5 arpeggio, or an E, or an A minor, A. And I know it sounds a bit kind of dull to listen to, but it's an important foundation that, you know, musicality can be layered upon on top of as you get to grips with it. So playing the arpeggio notes from different places, being aware of what you're playing, which one's the 3rd, which one's the 5th, which one's the 7th, are all important things. Being able to hear it, you know, sing this. Da, 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 da. That will have a really big effect later on. It will really help you have a solid understanding of this. I've just paused the backing track for a second just to say, sort of being able to find arpeggios like that's, you know, an essential thing. So if it's something you're not sort of comfortable with, you're going to probably need to spend a lot of time there. Being able to do this sort of thing, finding E7, it's not easy. So once you can outline the chord progression with, say, 8th notes like I was doing just from the roots, then you can move on to more interesting things with the arpeggios. Now, you need to be aware of how these chords move into one another, and by that I mean which notes are close to each other, which ones are far apart. So it's important to know what happens with the notes, where they move, how far they move. Some of them stay the same, so between B7 flat 5 and E7, B, the root of the B, the 2 chord, becomes the 5th of E. The D stays the same, it becomes the 7th of E. The F goes down a semitone to E, and the A goes up a tone to B or down a semitone to G sharp. And then at the point of E7 to A minor, E stays the same, it becomes the 5th of A. G sharp goes down a semitone to G, the 7th, or more likely, feels like it goes up a semitone to A, the root of A minor. And the B goes up a semitone to C or down a tone to A, and then finally the D goes up a tone either to E or down a tone to C. And these little movements are important because it's at the point of transition you want to find nice close links, especially if you can move a semitone. It sounds so good. So say for instance if you're on the B7 flat 5, the A is the semitone of the semitone above the 3rd of the next chord. So that's a nice movement to make at the point of transition. Let's try some of these ideas. So let's get the backing track going again. And this backing track is available on my YouTube, by the way. So here it is going again. I'm just going to find the nice links between the chords. So let's keep a B going between the first two chords, because that's a shared note. So octaves. Up a semitone to C of A minor. Let's take the D of the B minor 7 flat 5, the third. So again, this could stay the same. And I could go up a tone to E for A minor. Go the other way, D, both chords, so it's the third, now it's the seventh. Then go to C, which is the third of the A minor. Let's go the next tone, so F, which is the third, down a semitone to E, go down to C, or I could have stayed on the E actually. Let's try that again. So F, on the B, down a semitone to E, down to C. And again, I'm going to move differently this time, so F. Do that better. I could go F, G sharp, A, maybe. So F, G sharp, A. Let's find the other one. So starting on an A, going down to G sharp, go back to A. Starting on A, go up to B, up to C. Now when I'm soloing over a progression like this, I'm very aware of those movements. I'm not playing it probably like I've just done, but doing that kind of thing helps me be clear about where the nice links are. So when I'm sort of improvising, I'll be thinking of those little movements. So, you know, stuff like trying to target that G sharp on the E going to the A. There. That type of thing where you're trying to make those nice movements. And what you can do when you get used to that kind of thing is then when you play an arpeggio, if I played 8 notes of B minor 7 flat 5 on the 2 chord like here, it places me on an A on the and of 4, so on the last bit on the B minor 7 flat 5. So again, where could I go on the E7? I'm on an A, so I could go down to a G sharp or up to a B. Let's go down to the G sharp. There, and then back to an A. I could have gone up to a B. Let's try that this time. Then up to a C. And obviously you need to create flowing lines over all 3 chords, but just finding these links, they're your friend. They're going to help your improvising follow the chords, which for me is the ultimate goal of an improviser. If someone's soloing over, without any backing, you should still be able to hear the chord movements. So I've just paused the backing track again. So what we're talking about really here is if you're playing an arpeggio, whatever note you finish on, go to the nearest note of the next chord. And obviously, so far I've been starting my arpeggio on the root, so B. But if I started my arpeggio from the third, so on the D, puts me in a different place. It finishes me on a B if I do 8 notes, so then I've got a different choice. I could go down to G sharp still, or I could go up to D, so just knowing that, wherever you finish on the arpeggio, you're going to be somewhere near something of the next chord, and it's being able to find those, like that sort of fretboard fluency that you need for this. And it all boils down to good knowledge of the neck, good fretboard knowledge, good knowledge of the notes within the chords themselves. So what we're going to do now is our next option, moving on from just playing the arpeggios over the chords, which is, a big enough job in itself, we could try playing other arpeggios. So over the 2 chord, instead of B minor 7 flat 5, we could try some closely related ones. Let's try D minor 7 or G7. So I'm going to go D minor 7, E7, A minor. Let's try G7 over that was this one. So I think prefer the D minor 7, but both work. Let's try D minor 7 again. Let's try G7 again. So, what we could do here, let's try what's called the family of dominants. So if you take E7, move it up in minor thirds, and keep going, you'll get G7, B flat 7 and D flat 7, like. And we're going to try each of those ones. Let's try G7. So we go B minor 7 flat 5, G7, A minor 7. And I'll just play the arpeggios. 2, 3, 4. So nice. Let's try the next one, which would be B flat 7. Now this is the tritone of E7, that's why this one works. The last one was called the backdoor dominant. So 2 chord, B flat 7, A minor. Nice chromatic 4, B, B flat A. Nice sort of tension there, I really like that. Another one we could do would be D flat 7. Okay, so we had E7, G7, B flat 7 and D flat 7. Let's try this one. We could go D minor 7, D flat 7, A. Just try sort of plain arpeggios. So B minor 7 flat 5, D flat 7, landing on a C. So there's just a couple arpeggios we could do there on the dominant chord. Let's try some on the 1 chord. Let's try C major 7 on there. So B minor 7 flat 5, E7, we'll just keep it simple on these for now. C major 7, B minor 7 flat 5, C major 7, A minor. That creates a A minor 9 sound, which is one of my favourite chords. B minor 7 flat 5, E7, here's C major 7 now. So it's very sweet sounding. Let's try E minor 7 this time. So here. Nice sound again. That's creating, we've there got the E minor 7 in relation to A minor. When you play it over the top is 5th, 7, 9 and 11. So it's kind of like a minor 11 sound we create when we go, rather than just playing A minor. So we've got C major 7, A minor 7 obviously, and C major 7 and E minor 7 that we could play over that. If you want some more outside ones over this 1 chord, we could try maybe G major 7. So here, this will sound a bit gnarly. Let's try B minor 7 flat 5, E7, G major 7. F sharp minor 7 flat 5 would be quite cool as well. Here. Now that one is the notes of an A minor 6, so when you play here, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, it creates an A minor 6 sound. So those arpeggio substitutions move us away from creating things like and then instantly, yeah, that will work over the top of that. Yes, you do need to add technique, you do need to add rhythm, you might add additional scale notes in, which we'll come to, but it's going to be richer, and it's going to be that little bit more interesting. So that's our arpeggios, and for me, chord tones are a much simpler approach to to soloing, and they mean you follow the harmony closely. You've got the, you know, if you're not already come across the old argument of chord scale theory versus chord tones, then you know there are two sort of main approaches to playing jazz, and both have merits, and I sit between the two, but I probably prefer chord tones that little bit more. But we're going to move on to just scales that you could use, and I'm going to give you 3 different options. We're going to go with one scale that could work over this entire progression. We're going to go to using pentatonics and using 3 different scales over the top of it, which is obviously, you know, progressing in thought and how much you need to think and how much you need to know, and your fretboard knowledge. But the scale which works over all of it most simply is the A harmonic minor. So this being A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. You may also get people using the melodic minor, so but I feel that the A harmonic minor works better over all 3 chords. So what we've got here is root in relation to the A minor. We've got root, 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th, major, the all important major 7th, which is the 3rd of the 5 chords. So it's the 3rd of E7. Let's try that. Let's try and create some little melodies with the track. And again, you can grab this track on my YouTube for your own practice. So A harmonic minor. Let's just get used to see what it sounds like. I'll just play it up and down to start with. So I'm just sort of finding 1 or 2 octave positions. From different A's on the guitar. And again, certain notes are going to want to come out at certain times, and it's that G sharp you want on the there on the 5 chord to go to A. But this scale will give you enough. You know, I'm sort of already weaving off into the notes, but you can use this scale, create sort of basic melodies over the top. And obviously you might combine it with other scales as well, like A minor pentatonic or Dorian, but I think that scale would be a good thing just to try playing over the top of the entire progression. Now let's move on to pentatonics. Now pentatonics obviously very friendly to guitar players, very popular scales for guitar players, so I think it's an important one to know. Now what we can use for this, so we can use 3 different pentatonic scales, and over the 2 chord, the Bm7b5, we can use a pentatonic built off the minor 3rd. So this chord, the 3rd is D, so we can use D minor pentatonic. And then over the 5 chord, to create a really ultra sort of outside sound, almost, you know, jazzy sound, we're going to use F minor pentatonic. Which, when if you listen to it like that, it sounds, you hear the change between 2 and then A minor pentatonic for the last one. And it's to do with the intervals. The F minor one will sound a bit tasty, you need to be careful how you use it, but let's see what it sounds like. But so we're going to go D minor, F minor, A minor. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down. So that F minor pentatonic just goes, whoa, it's kind of, D minor is outside-ish, the F, back to A with resolution. So we've got inside, outside, in. So I think this is very interesting sounds. And obviously there I'm adding in the ninth occasionally, or the blues note maybe might be nice. You don't want it in any of the three. Let's try that. So sort of just add in the blues notes to the flat fifth. Battery died on me there, so you're going to need to be patient with all this kind of learning. You know, getting scales and arpeggios comfortable over the neck to the point where you can play them without thinking, and you can find melodies and things with them, and you can find certain notes at the right time. You know, you don't always have to start on the root, for instance. That's fretboard fluency, which takes a long time to develop. So you're probably going to be working on this type of thing for the rest of your guitar playing career. I certainly will be. And you know, you just make small inroads over time. And if you think of the notes you're playing, and you think of the sound, and you try and think of creating melodies and hearing things rather than just playing them, you're going to find it a lot easier and a lot quicker to do. My final scales for this, and I've included this because you'll come across it when you search the internet or other people's videos, and I think it's important to be aware that if you did want to have a scale for each one, what it could be. Those pentatonics, you know, obviously a bit more basic than 7-note scales. So if we were to take 7-note scales like modes, then there's two main options for me over this. First one being derived from A harmonic minor. So if we did an A harmonic minor from B to B, same notes, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A, but starting on B. We get a scale called Locrian 6. Now why is it called Locrian 6? Well, Locrian would normally have this note in here, which is a minor 6, but here we've got a major 6. Now you could say, why can't I just think A harmonic minor? Of course you can. Some people prefer to think like this. A benefit, I suppose, of this is if you just think A harmonic minor, so you know, for me, I'm instantly like, well, A is the most important note there. Whereas if I do this, B has become more important than it did previously in that scale, and it's because that's kind of now the root. So this is Locrian 6. So it's a Locrian scale, if you know your Locrian scale, but with a raised 6th. For the E7, if we took our A harmonic minor and we did it from E to E, we get the following scale, which is called Phrygian dominant. If you think of a normal E Phrygian, it would be that. And we call this Phrygian dominant because it's a Phrygian scale with a major third, which gives us the notes for E7, as opposed to, so there's actually one note different between E Phrygian and E Phrygian dominant. And E Phrygian dominant is just the harmonic minor scale of A from E to E. Intervals, root E, minor 9, which is really nice, you know, flat 9. Then we've got G sharp, 3rd, A, perfect 4th, B, 5th, C, a minor 6th, D, minor 7th, back to E. So again, you know, the benefit maybe for some of thinking of E Phrygian dominant instead of A harmonic minor would be that that E is more important than the A. You're not getting that sort of root bias. And for each of the, those two scales, the Locrian 6 and the E Phrygian dominant, again, if you do the arpeggio on the 3rd, 5th and 7th note of that, you're going to get, say on the E Phrygian dominant, you're going to get that sound. And same on the Locrian 6, you're going to get a Bm7 flat 5 arpeggio. So we've got B Locrian 6, E Phrygian dominant to A harmonic minor. So try running those against the track. Here we go. So Locrian 6, E Phrygian dominant, A harmonic minor. So they do sound good. One could argue it's just a harmonic minor, but what it comes down to, you could either have the 3 individual scales or the 1 scale. They all derive, from A harmonic minor. But if you don't want to think like this, and the Phrygian dominant and the Locrian 6 is just like, whoa, that's just too much, then by all means just think A harmonic minor, but you do need to follow the chord tones. So the notes as the chords changes become more important. So over the 2 chord, the B, D, F and A are important notes. Over the 5 chord, the E, G sharp, B and D are important. Then when we get to A minor, A, C, E, G become important. So it's being able to sort of hear that and follow that. The final way a lot of people would treat this progression is with the harmony of the melodic minor. So what we can do over the 2 chord, we can use the scale chord Locrian sharp 2 or Locrian 2. So it's like we had the Locrian 6, which is a Locrian scale with a raised 6. Locrian, with the sharp 2 is going to have a second raised a semitone. So instead of, which is Locrian, we're going to raise the second note by a semitone. Now, you might know your melodic minor and think that's not the melodic minor. No, it's not. But it is a melodic minor scale, just starting from a different note. So B Locrian 2 is the same as D melodic minor. So what I'm actually playing here is a D melodic minor scale, but I'm going from B to B. So how do we remember this sort of thing? Well, if we've got a Bm7 flat 5 chord, the 3rd is D, and we can use D melodic minor. So if we had an A minor 7 flat 5 chord, and that was the 2 chord, what's the 3rd? It's C, so we can use C melodic minor over it. That's how you kind of need to get to grips with these kind of rules. So we've got, then over the 5 chord, we can use F melodic minor. So the F melodic minor scale being nice sounding scale, but if we do that from E to E, sorry. Creates this very altered sound as it's known, and you get these intervals. E root, we get a flat 9, minor 3rd, major 3rd, flat 5, minor 6, flat 7, root. Rule here: if you've got the 5 chord in a minor 2 5 1, you can play a melodic minor built off the flat 9. So F is the flat 9 of E, so we can use F melodic minor. So far this gives us Locrian 2, which is D melodic minor, so B Locrian 2, and then E altered, which is F melodic minor, and then we could go to A melodic minor. So that would sound like this. Let's hear those against the progression, see what it sounds like. So I'm going to do Locrian 2 now, E altered, A harmonic, melodic. For me personally, I prefer the way before with the A harmonic minor, which is yielding Locrian 6, E Phrygian dominant. I prefer that sound. I find that at 2 on the Locrian on the 2 chord, just a little bit. Oh, okay, it's a bit, I don't know, maybe modern for my for my ears. We've covered a fair few possibilities today, so if you have any questions or comments, then leave them below. Deliberately, I'm just sort of outlining arpeggios and scales. And just remember that, this isn't, that's not your long-term aim. Your long-term aim is to make music with these things, but I'm a firm believer in a really solid theoretical and technical and, ability, understanding is just going to make life so much easier in the long run. So being able to find these things on the neck, developing good fretboard knowledge and good harmony and good chord knowledge is important alongside playing songs and playing standards and playing licks and things like that. Always try to think in notes. As I said, the backing track is available on my YouTube channel. It's in the description or in a card above. But it may be just worth you starting off just playing in free time to begin with. And by that I mean you're sort of sat practicing, you're thinking 2-5-1, but you're not worried by the pressures of time. Maybe trying to find 8th note lines. But it doesn't have to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it can be slower, there can be gaps, and you can just sort of you're trying to hear things ultimately. So try to hear where your fingers want to go, the movements between the chords. And I said, if you sing your arpeggios, you practice that sort of playing, and you try to find the links between them. So if you finish on an A on a 2 chord, like we said, we're a semitone away from the 3rd of the 5 chord, and so forth. Those sort of things are sort of things you want to try to find. But I hope your practice all goes well with this sort of thing. Leave me any questions or comments below, and join me every Wednesday and Saturday for jazz guitar lessons. If you don't already subscribe, then please consider doing so. I hope you found today's lesson useful, and I'll see you again next time.